want to turn that on.
Okay.
And you're muted here. And now it sounds like people can hear me at home or wherever they are.
Yeah.
Can we test it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So
And you can also
confirm that some of the members are on here.
Yeah, so Debbie is on.
Debbie?
David just
start the
joined.
video.
Okay.
George is joining.
Okay.
And Michael was also
You should see
planning
this
on
room.
joining.
Yeah, Michael's planning, but you know, we got 4 millies.
Can
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
hear the room 103?
All my plans to have you guys start early went out around. Technical.
Megan, can you hear the room?
And Megan is right here. So
Oh, sorry.
Debbie, or George or David, can you hear us?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And they should be able to see us too.
Oh, we're just.
Okay.
I think
That's just
good.
Megan's. So that's whoever's sharing
Okay.
their screen.
All right.
Okay.
We just see now that 2.
Oh, it's like, this is like down hall.
We're seeing the room and. Seeing the room, okay, and you're gonna split screen it with the presentation?
I was gonna share it.
Okay.
It's just like.
So we have
it's saying that
6 of them.
Don Hall is in.
6 out of the 7 members here
Is that right?
Does that seem right?
were present. We're waiting on Michael.
Yeah, it's fine. You can leave it.
We have a form.
Okay.
Enough people.
Okay, we're.
This is what matters. This
Okay.
part. And that they
Okay,
can hear us.
great.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
does someone
So-
Megan want to show her screen again, just so that that works. That works.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, let me share that screen.
Okay, can we, David, can you hear us and see us?
I both hear you and I see you, yes.
Okay, great. I see Michael's here. I see Debbie's here. George is here. I believe I saw him before. So we are all 7 members are present. So let me introduce myself. My name is Lat Yan. I'm the Director of Capital Construction. I've been running this project and RFQ process here. I'm going to start with this gentleman. Introduce yourself and we can begin.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Kazutis. I'll be Project Director from CHA.
Hi, I'm Megan McCosh. I'll be project manager from CHA.
My name is Robert St. Laurent. I'd be the on-site rep for CHA.
Okay, and we'll start with Karen.
Karen Perslowski, building commission.
Nate Tuck, Building Commission.
Clara Bachelor, Parks and Recreation.
Okay, David, you're on screen. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, David Perlman, Select Board.
Michael, can you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Michael O'Connor, Parks and Rec Commission.
And Debbie, please.
Yep, Debbie Hatziel Theriatis, Park and Rec Commission.
And George.
George Cole, Building Commission.
Okay, so we have the introductions here. I turn the presentation over to you, this fine group here, CHA. We're interviewing today for the role of owner's project manager for the Larz Anderson project here in Skating Rink. You guys are one of shortlisted people who want to interview prior to making a selection for the owner's project manager. We have made a selection of Marianne Thompson as the architect.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So please, with that said, take it away.
Sherry, or are you still frozen?
It looks like it's frozen.
Okay.
Oh, are you frozen?
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe I could exit the,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. It looks like it's very slowly loading.
Okay, do you want to just email Millie the presentation? She can put it on screen.
Can we just blow it first blind, because the sun's coming in and which I can't
Oh,
see.
it's a Megan has started. Oh, there, we can see it.
Okay.
We could sit here if you want.
Okay.
What's that?
Oh, I thought you meant.
You're just seeing our presentation.
Yes, we
Okay.
see your
You're
presentation.
not
Fine.
seeing the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Also.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Also joining our team, but unfortunately, he was in the office this morning and I sent him home because the stomach wasn't feeling right. It's Colby Sifilano, who will be an assistant project manager on the team with us. Just a little background on each of us. So I actually started my career on your side of the table. I worked for the town of Belmont for 22 years. Worked my way all the way, started in the engineering department and was the town engineer and building commissioner for Belmont. And then after that, I worked for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as the public safety commissioner for the entire Commonwealth. And when people hear public safety, they think of guns and hoses. I was not the guns and hoses guy. I was the rules and regulations guy. So helped to write several editions of the state building code, architectural access board, all the regulatory and approval and permitting processes fell under me. And then I joined the CHA team and have been here for a little over a decade. And I will lead this great team that we put together for the project. Debbie?
Hi, I'm Megan Lacoche. I am a licensed architect and certified construction manager. I spent 18 years of my career solely on the architecture side, and I've been on the OPM side for the last 7 years. So really, I enjoy working on complex projects and a lot of the relationships. So the clarity, organizing the teams, anticipating any issues that you have, and really my strength is ownership and aligning stakeholders early to really keep the prices down and keep that in mind.
My name is Robert St. Laurent. I would be the on-site rep. I have over 30 years experience in owner side construction management and representing owners. I've been with CHA for just over 15 years. As serving as on-site rep, I be the team and report everything from the site back up through all the stakeholders and the rest of the team. And we take that team seriously, and that we are the glue that holds it together.
And we use our on-site reps also in reconstruction to do, planning, constructability, buildability. It's all part of the services that we provide and what we bring to the table. We also have in-house cost estimating. We're one of the only OPM firms in Massachusetts that has in-house cost estimators, full-time employees of CHA. And, then we have the resources of the larger CHA family with the architects and engineers. Not that we're the designers, but if something comes up, we have that ability to ask the question as we're in design or kick around different ideas, constructability issues, all of that. I know regulatory compliance is a big question, a big concern for all of you. And as I stated, that was been my life for well over 30 years of code review, interpretation. As I said, I helped to write several editions of the state building code for the Commonwealth for accessibility, all of the regulatory requirements, well versed in them. I'm a registered engineer. Megan, as she said, is registered architect. Again, we're not the designers, but we know what needs to get done, and we make sure that it happens with you. We will absolutely be bringing in the regulatory agencies within the town of Brookline early, so that we're not hit with, one of the things that drives me absolutely insane is when a municipal project is faced with change orders because of code compliance. That should never, ever, ever happen. That needs to be done before the plans hit the street, so that the contractors and the community knows that the plans are meeting code and meeting the requirements of the community. And that will absolutely happen with us. We're all MCPPO certified, so we know all of the requirements for the Commonwealth in prevailing wage, public procurement, all the bid laws, all of that. Do it all the time. It's very standard. So, and it's, and these aren't just tasks that we perform, it's part of the basic process that we bring forward so that everything moves forward very seamlessly and thoughtfully and thoroughly.
So understanding your project, we looked through the feasibility study as well as RFP. I understand that the existing rink is 60+ years old and you have significant issues with the system failure, including refrigeration. Also, we noticed in the value engineering exercise that you did after the feasibility that you're really looking to replace in kind that existing open air rink. And you're very interested in the historic landscape and the community use. So that's something that you would keep in mind, as well as the facilities improvement. So upgrading the warming hut, the mechanical shed, the restoration of the historic elements and accessibility. So really making sure that your goals are met for safety, modernization, community use, as well as preservation.
Do you have questions if you want to ask us as we go along, or do you want us to go through the full presentation and then you'll ask?
I would prefer if you guys just do the presentation through and then there is a time slot for questions.
Okay,
I kind of want a timeline.
perfect, no problem.
Sorry about
No
that.
problem at all. No. So one of the examples that we brought forward is the Belmont skating rink. Rob and I are all three of us are just completing that project. We made ice, the students and community was able to skate on it this fall and into this winter. We're very happy, very proud of that fact that it did happen. It's the first municipal ice plant in the country, as far as we know, that is run entirely on CO2. The ice plant is CO2. Which means no refrigeration. It's entirely environmentally friendly. It's also an all-electric building. No fossil fuels in the building whatsoever. That the ice, and we'll go into it. You can see down the bottom picture that the large thing that's encased in blue is the ice plant that was brought in. We brought that in, was manufactured in Canada, brought down as a complete package and unit and installed and is, as I said, operational as we speak. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that facility, but Belmont Skating Rink was, it was tough when I was a child and skated on that ice. I also skated on your ice as a child as well. I played hockey back in the day. That facility really started out as an open outdoor. It had a metal roof on it, but the sides were chain link fence. So it literally snowed inside the building when the wind was blowing. Not much different than an open air rink like what you have right now. But your facility, not only, is it the skating rink, but it's the historic structure and structures that are around it that are truly significant. And that, excuse me, is going to require very, very careful consideration and thoughtfulness in how things move forward and how the project gets completed. One of my favorite sayings is, what happens in construction is while you're up, get me a beer. We're doing this. Well, can't we just do that? Can't we just add? And yes, we all would love to do that. The problem with that is scope creep, which means budget creep. And we have to be very careful and very considerate of all of the factors that go together on this project to make sure that all the needs are met, but not at the expense of a different need. And that's going to be a very collaborative process and effort as we move forward here. Rob, anything else you want to add on the?
No, I think you highlighted the
Okay.
challenge that it will be is particularly the historic landscaping is once you take it apart, then you need to put it back together. And so I think we have to be very careful on how much we get into and how much the budget can take. And just kind of eyes wide open kind of comment.
Actually, I realize that there's some glitch in what's being presented versus what's on the screen versus what's in front of you. When I was referring to the ice plant, I was talking about this down here at the bottom.
I'm gonna try that. It looks like this.
Yeah, we should be okay.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Let's-
Yeah. Apologize for that. Don't you rest.
So this project, the Martha's Vineyard, Tabernacle. It's a nationally registered historic landmark dating back to 1879. CHA served as the owner's project manager on this project, and it spanned 20 years and had multiple different phases. So the goal here was to update the space. So the historic wrought iron structure, and then there was a 12,000 square foot addition for the backstage space, restrooms, and storage. All of those were done as an addition, so it wasn't trying to replicate the existing. All of the work followed the Secretary of Interior standards, ensuring that it was historically appropriate and was a reversible solution. CHA also guided the project through all the state and local approvals, which was very rigorous. And speaking to your Larz Anderson Park, we know that that's listed on the state and national register of historic places. And the Rink was originally an Italianate garden by Charles Platt and is under the Mass Historic Commission Preservation restriction. And we understand that the commission must review any changes to the Rink site, and it will also require the Mass Historic Commission review. So for CHA, they guided the Tabernacle project through this complex state and local approval, which is something that we bring to the table, that we've done this before. And we understand that the commission would like to participate as the design moves forward. I will turn it over. Did you have anything else
No,
to add to that?
that's part of that. While you're up getting me a beer, we need to make sure that, what we're doing, again, is not at the expense of, or the lack of ability to use in a different way or aspect, any of the reconstruction, new construction, or rehabilitation, or installation of new facilities as we move forward with the Rink and the Park project together.
So we understand that you're in the process of selecting a designer. CHA has now that you do have, Mary Ann Thompson on board, which is excellent. And so as we go through the design, I think a big piece of that CHA brings to the table is that we do have in-house estimation group as well as architecture that can, act as a third party reviewer to the contractors, budget as well as add, value engineering information as well. I think if the project does move forward as a CM at risk, I know you're considering that. We have a lot of experience with that process. All three of us have worked on that. In fact, Belmont was a CM at risk. And getting the contractor on board early really helped the process. It helped with the constructability and pre-construction and,
Are you all familiar with the differences between CM at risk and, so we don't need to go into all the details.
yeah, so I'll turn it over to Rob to speak to the construction closeout.
Essentially, as on-site rep, I would enter the process at the design reviews phase, particularly if it is a CM at risk. At that point, working with the contractor, it becomes more of a construction activity rather than a design activity. But constructability reviews as well as code compliance reviews start early, schematic design early. And making sure that we've got the basis of the building nailed down before we start getting into the nitty-gritty design. And then the next two phases, construction and closeout, are perhaps the more predictable parts of the program. The Rink will be fully engineered and completed documents, so we'll be implementing a plan at that point. And so my emphasis will be schedule and quality. And so I'd be managing all the testing and inspection for the controlled construction affidavits and working with the architects to make sure that the quality is exactly what was specified and put forth in the project manuals and the documents. That's a big part of what I do on the day-to-day. We also put a lot of cash flow analysis and how it relates to the schedule and whether or not there's shortcomings in either the progress on the site, or if payments are behind, that means someone's not procuring what they're supposed to be procuring when they're supposed to be procuring it. And typically there's it's either the tip of the iceberg or the kind of the canary in the coal mine as far as identifying problems in that regard. And then we follow it right through the closeout and making sure that scopes are complete and that contractors are whole and that expectations are being met for both quality and durability. And then also queuing up the warranty and the kind of the contractor and the subcontractors follow up and making sure that you're all on solid ground as you take possession of your new asset.
Just have to give you like the 2-minute warning.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here is a sample of the tools that we use. So we've got the risk register here. Which I think in your case, having the historic element, we would be, making sure that there's not a lot of scope creep to define that. And then another piece of it, the purchase and delivery. So we know the ice plant is a long lead time item. And at Belmont, the ice rink came from out of state and was a specialty item. And so, one thing for that is that the deliverable really just needs to be carefully laid out and made sure that everything is reviewed properly with the design team. And then the RACI chart is really just the responsibility, accountability, and, there's a lot of folks at play with facilities, the rec department, historic, the park. So we know it ADA compliant, so there's a lot involved. And making sure that everybody, knows their role.
It's a tool that we use and it changes as you move through the process, just to make sure who the responsible party is, who's the decision makers as you move through. It helps to lay it out right from the beginning. No misunderstandings, no questions, no concerns. But as I said, it changes as you move forward.
And the next slide is about reporting, and it brings you from daily, which is the daily Rink report, which is the example you see of the daily report. And then it goes to the monthly deliverables of all of the budget tracking and schedule updates and also a monthly narrative of activities that took place on site. So again, pretty standard.
And the whistle blows.
Yeah, okay.
So now I'd like to give the commission the opportunity to ask, since three have showed up in person. I will give Aaron, you go ahead.
I noted in your proposal that you had 12 projects that are going to be in completion in 2026 and another 6 of them in 27. So that's almost 20. If you included this project, almost 20 projects. So, which, you know, seems like a good number of projects. So what's the involvement of the team you're proposing in all of those projects that are coming and need to be done or are being done? And how then do you propose to meet the needs of this project?
So we do not put together, we don't go after every single project that comes up. And we do not put together a project team that can't work the project and fit it into their schedule and fit it into your schedule to make sure that we have success. Because if we were to come on and not be able to meet your needs, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help us either in moving it forward. So the short answer is we wouldn't be here if we weren't able to staff the project accordingly. And we set up our team the way that we do with a project director, project manager, an assistant project manager, and then the on-site representative. And Rob would be rolling, I'll speak to him first, because Rob would be rolling into this as the design is getting completed. And then we're getting ready to move into construction. And he would be rolling out of the project that he's involved with now, right within that same time frame. Megan and I are in the exact same boat of being able to staff the projects accordingly. You'll see, more of Megan than you will of me as project director. It's that tier that we set up so that if we couldn't staff it, we wouldn't.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna go. Nate, why don't you go first?
Yeah, we had, and I think appropriately so, kind of went over the different contracting methods kind of quickly. But just curious, with your sort of limited knowledge, so to speak, of the project so far, what would be your recommendation on contracting approach for a project like this?
So this, in my opinion, this project is much more akin to a CMRS than it is a design bid build. There's so many different aspects that are going to be brought into play and need to be brought into play as we move forward. And having that construction manager in place earlier to help to work through constructability, buildability, as well as the phasing, I think makes the most sense. That's not to say that it couldn't be done, design, bid, build. It's just a lot more detail into the plans and specs would need to happen up front, and a lot more internal review.
Sure. Great. Aaron,
Sure. You mentioned some of the stakeholders in this project. So my question to you is, how would you be interacting with them? How would that work?
I'll start and as you jump in.
Okay.
So one of the things that, and we talked about it as one of the tools, is that RACI or the risk register. So those two tools go hand in hand, because while you may not consider it a risk, but historic preservation, when you're talking new construction, is a risk and a conflict. And we want to make sure that those are not conflicting, but are actually blending together. So the new rink is not competing with the historic infrastructure and beauty that is within this park and is established. Though that's the physical pieces that need to be done. The stakeholders, we've got historic, parks, recreation, disability access commission, and facilities that are all going to be rolled in and all need to be key stakeholders and understand. We all need to understand, and they need to understand the priorities of each other. And we help to facilitate that and bring everybody to the table and make sure that the design team is hearing what everyone is saying and that things are getting incorporated in that need to be. And then those pieces that can't be incorporated in, there's a clear understanding of why they can't. That's our role.
I'll go a little wider and say that the neighbors and the abutters.
Yes, absolutely.
They're also
I knew-
primary stakeholders in
Yeah.
my little world. And that, you know, I'm the rubber on the road and something as simple as a trucking pattern can set things off in a way and get us off on the wrong foot. So part of it is making commitments and making sure we follow up on those commitments. And my job as on-site rep would be working with the contractor to achieve that.
Thank you. Right, I'm gonna call David, do you have any questions for the team here?
Yes, just in terms of stakeholder groups, how do you intend to identify the correct stakeholder groups? How do you intend to work with them and build a consensus?
I think that's very similar, but, and maybe my voice isn't projecting enough, but the tools that we have, the RACI chart and the Reagan chart, help to identify, I'm sorry, not the RACI and the risk register, help to identify who all the stakeholders are. And we use that as tools with all of you to make sure that we have everybody that needs to be involved in the process. And a lot of roundtable discussions, quite honestly, of making sure that needs and wants are at least put on the table, discussed, and a consensus or however the process is going to work out. We're not going to dictate, of course, but there's a majority vote or majority approval. I'd like to say it will be unanimous for every single decision, but that's a perfect world and that may not happen every single time.
So just as a brief follow-up, these roundtables, is there somebody who has the role of facilitator trying to draw a consensus? Is it more freewheeling? How do you envision that process?
No, we CHA would be the facilitator because we don't have a stake. I mean, we do as your OPMs, but we're not coming from a particular point of view. And so it's far easier for us to be the neutral party, I'll use that term, to move the process along and get to consensus. We would absolutely help to run those meetings. I won't say run because there'll be a building committee chair who, will have that role as well, but we will work with all of you, absolutely.
Any follow-up, David?
No, thank you. That helps.
Okay, I'll go to, Debbie, do you wanna have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. We had some questions here that anyway, so one of them that I'm interested in is describing your experience with integrating the historical approval with the needs of designing a modern facility. How will you guys do that?
Well, yeah, that was one thing that I was talking about with the Tabernacle project is that, obviously we'd have to follow the historic commission. We would have to run everything by the commission once the design gets to certain milestones, but the idea is that there's certain parameters that you'd want to follow. Obviously, if you're creating an addition, it's not going to match exactly the historic nature. You want it to blend in, but it's not like an exact replica. So I think that's very important, and I'm sure Mary Ann Thompson would be taking the lead on a lot of that as well with her experience.
Thank you.
George, do you want to have any questions for the group here?
Yeah, I do. So, it's interesting because other than the historic and landscape concerns, this is a relatively small, relatively simple project compared to other town projects that we've undertaken, both in terms of budget and scale. So, one, I was really interested in your approach to contracting, because for a small project like this to go CM at risk seems overkill. And we do much better on the buy on design bid build. So could you talk to me about why you think it would be a good idea to go CM at risk on a project of the scale?
Sure, as I mentioned, we've done it both ways, and we could go either way, and we can certainly do the design bid build. I'm not opposed to that. We're not opposed to it at all. It's just we will need to make sure that we have all of the stakeholder concerns addressed fully in that design.
Well, isn't that your role in terms of shepherding the design through these stakeholder groups?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And we do bring that forward and will do that 100%. It was more so the constructability issues and constructability questions. Again, with our experience and the designer's experience, it's not something that can't and won't be overcome. Of course it will be. It was just it's a different process, a different approach, and we can go either way, no question whatsoever.
No, I guess we're going to be looking to you as experts to make that recommendation, but I'm just wondering why you initially went 149A. Second question is, again, this is a small project, budget constrained, and I'm really concerned about the OPM fees we see on public projects. Could you compare your fees for public projects as a percentage of construction costs with those that you would charge in the private sector?
So 99% of our work is done in the public sector. It's not done in the private sector. And our fee, the way we put together our fee is we will provide you with a very detailed spreadsheet of all of the scope items, as well as the personnel who are going to be assigned to each of those items, and the approximate hours per week that we anticipate each person will be involved. So it lays it out line by line, scope by scope of who's doing what and what the fee is and what the numbers are. It's very, very open.
So you do it from the bottom up?
Yes, we do.
And do you typically look at percentage of construction costs just to see if you're in the range overall?
Only anecdotally at the end of, we do it for comparative purposes, but it's not a tool that we use to set our fee.
I'll tell you where I'm going on this. I think the town gets hosed on OPM fees relative to the private sector, and I'm concerned about that, especially on a small project like this.
As I said, we will be completely open. You will know every item and every piece of the scope that's included in the project, what our proposed fee for that scope item is.
you can take from my comments that we're fee sensitive on a
Understood.
constrained budget project
Absolutely.
like this.
Any other questions, George?
Nope.
Michael, you have the last word.
Yeah, I was wondering more about, you said on your Belmont rink, in that experience, you were able to deliver the rink on time for the skating season, that you were proud of that. And I'm wondering maybe what you learned from that experience that you think could be relevant to our rink, as we also would like to meet the skating season, things like that.
Sure, yeah. The long lead items, the procurement schedule is critical, and getting those pieces in place as fast as possible in order to make sure that we have everything that is needed to make that ice. So long lead procurement is key.
Any follow-up, Michael?
No, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Unfortunately, our time is up. And I want to give the commission one last chance. Any follow-up? We got maybe 2 minutes. The second group is waiting outside. So does anybody in the commission have any follow-up questions before I end this thing? Okay, I would say that's a no. Well, thank you very much for coming here. We're gonna interview the other group,
Okay.
and we'll let you know in a week or so what our position is.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
It's a little hard to.
Thank you.
Yeah, they decided.
I'll go for.
You want to pause it for now? Recording? No. Sorry.
I love them. Oh, okay.
Does the public have a chance to ask me?
Yeah, at the end of this, at the end of 2 interviews. The public
Oh,
will have
okay.
a chance to ask. All right.
And you'll notice on our cards are our cell numbers. You have our number for 24/7.
I'm gonna give it to the spam form.
Gee, thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah.
A fraction of a penny for all the numbers. And it's a spam form. Like nothing, you make 2 cents. Thank you for the cookie. Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for showing up. I'm sorry for the.
Oh, yeah, that's smart. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
And good luck with your.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
Sure. Did you want a copy of any of this stuff? I have that.
Thanks again, guys. Thank you. Have a great future. It won't say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, somebody made cookies. So nice. Yeah, that's Lap's wife made them. Who? Lap's wife. Oh, fun.
I actually just got work. The best way to do is log on to the Zoom. We'll make you a presenter. And that way you can share your screen with the screen on the top. Okay? Why don't you set up the technical and then we'll do the introduction and all that good stuff. Thank you. And my white baked cookies, so you guys are welcome to have a good. Thank you.
Take one on the way out.
Yeah, just.
Sometimes I really have this. Pops my finger.
Yeah, you look at it. I told my son would like to get that.
So like they're sitting on my desk right now.
Absolutely great.
So they're good through April and you can use them as many times as you want
Oh, no
over
kidding.
that time period.
No kidding. Oh, it's like a
Like
membership.
Pass, yeah.
Wow, that's great.
We weren't sure if you needed copies, but we made some copies of our presentation. And I also have it on a thumb drive. Is that helpful?
No,
you already
let's see if you can get it up.
Okay.
If not, we can get three members. Well, this can.
Thank you.
Just let us know when you're ready to go live.
Okay, let me just make sure Jerry logs on.
Is it Jerry Foster?
Yeah.
I see him online.
Oh, great.
So you'll need to log on to the Zoom account as well.
I'm doing that
Yeah,
right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Great. Hi, Jerry.
Is he gonna share any material?
I'm gonna share so that he can just do the presentation without, just something just log me back up. Okay.
I'll walk over to your office. I'll walk over to your office. Just make sure to walk up.
Stretch the legs a little bit.
Yeah. It's stuck in change order hell for the fire station.
I'm not a robot.
Anything I can help you with?
No, you know what? It's just I thought I'd educate them how to do the change orders, and like I don't want any PM time on it. They keep putting PM time. It's like, no. Typical G says, well, that's what the subs would now. It's like, yeah, the subs don't run yet. You run the subs.
Yeah,
I'm trying to like get him lap and CM boot camp.
yeah, it's good.
Oh.
Technical difficulties.
Sure.
Worst comes to worst, we can just
It should be fine.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
you see?
Okay, so should I mute myself though?
Yeah, you just
Yes,
see
please.
it. So.
And you can share your screen. But before you share your screen, we'll just do the introduction so you can see the people. Just make sure you can share your screen.
Oh, yeah, let me make you go. Oh, sorry.
Did you make her a
Yeah.
presenter?
Thank you guys
Okay.
for accommodating virtual as well.
No, absolutely.
Jerry.
No. It was a little short. The day before Christmas. We need you to.
Are you
sure?
Good stuff.
Let's try.
See how badly you guys wanted the job. That was it. No?
You know how it goes? Good test.
For the designers, we did it before, because I know how architects are. Being one myself,
You can now see my screen?
I can see your screen. Okay.
No.
Okay, so you guys ready?
We are.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Lap Yan. I am the Director of Capital Construction here for the town of Brookline. We are interviewing Accenture for the role of owner's project manager for the Larz Anderson Skating Rink Park. We have the 7 members of the committee who are going to be choosing the members. We already interviewed one other member, so other group. You are the second one up. Why don't you start by introducing yourselves from left to right, please?
Sure. It's part of our presentation, if that's okay, because you gave us.
Oh, well, then you want me to just introduce?
I would love it if we could do.
Okay, that's fine. Why
First, and then
don't I let
That way I
me?
wanted to repeat. and then-
I'll let me have the committee introduce themselves,
Awesome.
and that way you can take it from there.
Perfect.
Okay, Nate, why don't you start?
Nate Peck, Building Commission.
Clara Bachelor, Parks and Recreation Commission. Karen Berslowski, Building Commission.
We'll go, David, are you there?
David Perlman, Select Board.
Who else was it? George, are you there? I know George.
George Cole, Building Commission.
Clara, are you there?
Debbie.
Debbie.
Debbie, I'm sorry, not you, Clara.
Debbie Hatsy, 1130 Addis Building, Parks and Rec Commission.
I think the last one is Michael.
Michael O'Connor, Parks and Rec Commission.
It's not Alzheimer's, I swear to God. It's not Alzheimer's. I just have bad name. Okay, so with that said, I'll give the floor to Sencha. And you guys it's all yours for the next 20 or so minutes.
Okay, great. Well, good afternoon. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited about this project, and I'm looking forward to introducing the Accenture team to you. We've prepared pretty much a 20-minute presentation, a little bit shorter than that, so that we've had some time for question and answers. We're going to demonstrate that, with this team, with Jerry on the line, and Tim and Jesse, that we have extensive Rink experience, and we have a great bench of subject matter experts. And we feel that together we will utilize our experience as the team for the Jack Moran Rink development project. Accenture capital projects, infrastructure and capital projects is a smaller group of the larger Accenture, Big Purple, we call it the mothership, the LLP. We're a small LLC. It's about 1,100 people across the United States. So we are a national leader in program management and project management, but we intentionally do not do design or any kind of engineering, because it allows us to truly focus on what is a true owner project management services. And so that we are your eyes and ears, and we are your consultants, and that's it. And that's all we know. So we don't go after the design if we don't get the OPM services, nothing like that. Although the company, we're about 35 strong, or close to 40. We had a couple of new hires over the last couple of weeks. Locally, we've been doing business in Massachusetts for over 30 years. We have worked with local towns and communities like yourself. We have worked in Brookline, 3 current projects with 1 current, and we've done work in Brookline in the past, me and Jerry. And we are comprised of people with construction management degrees, engineers, and architecture, and some out of the box, like Jerry, who is program manager at the sports level as well. My name is Andrea Lombardi. I'm a senior vice president at Accenture. I have over 30 years in the construction management. I started my career on the construction side, and I am now on the owner side for the last 18 years at Accenture. If I lead teams like this to success on these types of projects, so I'm here if we are successful and awarded. I'd be your pick or your principal in charge. So I would be responsible to make sure they have the right resources on the project, and that you have the right services that we are providing for you as well. We hope that this project we know will be successful. Brookline does some great work. And I wanted to share the rest of the team's, introduce to you the rest of the team, and show you how our leadership and our resources and how we can support the town of Brookline. So I'm going to hand it to Jerry, who I cannot see. But there we go.
Afternoon. I apologize for not being there with you. Just had a previously planned trip, and then we found out about this, but hopefully this will suffice. I'm Jerry Foster. I'm the project director. I spent more than 40 years planning and managing athletic and recreation facilities, ice rinks, field houses, performance centers, community sports spaces, indoor and outdoor, and I've overseen everything from master planning to design coordination to operations transition. Our experience in consulting and constructing these facilities demonstrates how we manage the full range of rink types, from professional multi-use facilities and community rinks to collegiate arenas. Just as important, they show us our understanding of how these facilities must balance public, team, and event use. Scheduling, safety, and long-term operational sustainability are just as important. Every rink has a personality, and the Jack Moran Rink has a special identity within the Brookline community and all over New England, and I can attest to that. Outdoors, simple, historic, and beloved. Our background ensures we can modernize it appropriately without losing what makes it special. I personally think it is one of the more picturesque skating venues in all of New England. And now Jessie will talk to you about her role on the project.
Jerry, good afternoon. Jessie Lacage-Lannon. I'm a senior project manager with Accenture. I bring a decade of owner's project management experience. I've represented clients across many industry sectors, including municipal, but also higher ed, healthcare, utility, and nonprofit. I've been with Accenture for over 2 years now, and I've actually worked closely with Andrea, Tim, and Jerry in that time. For this project, my role would be kind of your point person. I would be your day-to-day lead, helping with all the stakeholder coordination, project communications, basically ensuring that we have smooth progression from design, construction to closeout. I'm going to be talking a bit about my experience with the Skating Club of Boston, for those of you that are familiar, and their move to Norwood later on. I also want to note that I'm local to Brookline. I live up in Cambridge, so always convenient to be a quick drive away as things come up on any project. I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys for making the time, and I'll hand it off to Tim.
Can I just get people in Zoom land? Can you hear? Because I know you did raise your voice as the other.
We can hear.
Okay,
Okay,
great. So I
great.
just want to make sure.
Thank you.
My name is Tim Arnold. I would be the project representative on this project. I've been with the center for almost 3 years now, pretty much exclusively working on municipal Chapter 149 projects or subjects to public procurement guidelines and regulations. More recently, I've been involved with some athletic and recreational type projects down Gallo, Ice Arena down in Bourne, doing some renovations down there, as well as some community work with the Pocket Park over in Roxbury Community College. In addition to that, I've been working on some historic restorations, the Canton Public Library, Highfield Hall Gardens down in Falmouth, as well as the Dunby House in Roxbury, Massachusetts. My role in this project would be a little bit more behind the scenes, helping out Jesse kind of along the way, in particular with the public procurement, making sure we're meeting all the guidelines and regulations there, as well as being the on-site construction representative if we get to that point.
Jerry?
Okay, to the right of the slide, we see 3 of our valuable resources that Accenture can provide as subject matter experts there if we need them. Dustin Reinhardt is a seasoned cost estimator specializing in conceptual and detailed construction estimating, life cycle cost analysis, and value-driven budget validation across athletic, municipal, and complex capital projects. Dan Sniff is a nationally recognized historic preservation and landscape architecture expert with over 4 decades of experience stewarding, planning, and rehabilitating culturally significant buildings and historic campus environments. And Aubrey Rawson is our experienced project scheduler who develops, analyzes, and manages complex multi-phase schedules using advanced risk critical path and milestone tracking methodologies to ensure timely project delivery.
Okay. All right.
We move to the next experience slide.
Yeah. Can you see it?
I can't. No, there it is. So moving on to our experience, our winning experience. Each of these projects from our collective experience reinforces a key theme. We understand how ice rinks operate, the user needs, mechanical requirements, flow patterns, safety concerns, and long-term maintenance considerations required for a successful facility. Here we can see a series of relevant projects highlighting our comprehensive winning experience for this project. Northeastern University, Parsons Field. Andrea and I worked on this project together for Northeastern University and with the town of Brookline. It was executed successfully on schedule and under budget during one of the harshest winters on record, 2015, if some of you recall. A 10-week timeline, ADA seating, sound control compliance for the neighbors, and extensive coordination with those neighbors and the town were highly important to our process and our success. Stakeholder engagement and community coordination were vital to the success, despite the adverse conditions and the tight schedule. I also was involved at Northeastern University with Matthews Arena renovation. The project was for the oldest multi-purpose arena still in use that's just sadly closed. But at the time, it was still being used and quite often by Northeastern University. We modernized the facility, expanded team spaces, upgraded systems, and ensured buildings maintained its historic character, multi-purpose usability, and NCAA competition and event needs. I also was in the private development world with Edge Sports Group. My experience also included Essex Sports Center and Thayer Sports Center, among others. They are 2 examples of partnership development for multi-stakeholder community sports centers that include rinks. These examples illustrated my work across the project lifecycle, from planning and program management during construction through closeout and operational onboarding. And now Tim will talk about his experience and our experience collectively down at Gallo Arena presently.
Yeah, so Gallo projects, myself, Andrea, and Jerry are all actively working on right now. It's a bit of a multifaceted project aimed at bringing the rink up to a little bit more modern standard, as well as just kind of meeting the needs of the community and patrons around the rink. We are currently in construction on a locker room renovation project, converting 2 old storage rooms into additional locker rooms, as well as a sewer upgrade project that's connecting some of the campgrounds adjacent to the rink onto the town sewer system. We were instrumental in orchestrating both the designer procurement and the contractor procurement for both those projects, as well as overseeing all the design into construction. And a little bit later this month, we're going to be putting out a designer RFQ for a lobby addition and expansion, which will ultimately serve to expand the lobby a little bit. If anybody's familiar with the rink, there isn't much of a lobby to speak of right now. So combining the cafe area over there, as well as the pro shop, skate rentals, everything you need kind of all in one space. Now I'll turn things back over to Jessie to talk about her.
Thank you, Tim. I want to make sure that it's up on the screen. So as I mentioned a few years back, I had the privilege of working with the Skating Club of Boston as their owner's project manager on their move from Soltersfield Road, if anyone's familiar with their legacy facility, all the way down to Norwood. Skating Club of Boston was founded in 1912, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a very long lasting history in Boston. They had spent over 100 years in that old legacy facility. They had completely outgrown it. So this was a massive move for them. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of complexity to it. I was part of the team that helped not only move them, but also assemble the team to design and construct their new building. The complex is right off of University Ave in Norwood. It's 180,000 square feet and ended up being $68 million of construction costs. We broke ground in spring of 2019 and delivered in the midst of COVID, which was unpredictable, but we handled a lot of that, which I'll talk a little bit about that risk. The facility itself is 3 rinks. When you first enter the facility, the main rink, as you'll see at the top here, is an Olympic sized sheet. That arena seats 2,500. There's also a members lounge and some other ancillary spaces up there that are kind of combined into that space. The rink was designed for major events, so it's fully equipped for live broadcasting, all major US figure skating events. So there's a lot of infrastructure that went into the rink and planning. There's 2 other rinks, a smaller rink on the right-hand side that's for figure skating. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see in the photo below is their multi-purpose rink that is used by the Norwood local hockey teams and other kind of open skate functions. Outside of skate functions, it also has a members lounge that I mentioned, a library for skaters to do homework, attend virtual classes. There's a full 24/7 cafe, a skate rental shop, a ticket booth, retail space, and a full injury prevention wing in collaboration with the McKeeley Center. So it was a massive undertaking. It was 3 years of my life. It was an extremely rewarding project. We spent a lot of time with the club thinking about usability, thinking about function, life cycle cost. This facility is 6 times bigger than the one that they were in. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of stress about how are we going to manage this thing? What is it going to cost to manage it? What materials are we using? How long are they going to last? So we spent a lot of time making deliberate decisions about exterior materials, interior materials, the heat recovery system that actually heats and operates the rinks in their separate zones. It taught me a lot about, really thinking about who's going to live and breathe in this space and operate this space on day 2, not just the day 1 function. As I mentioned, it was delivered in COVID, so we didn't have the grand opening that we all envisioned for the space, but it is a thriving space today. If anyone's ever had the chance to stop by, it's a beautiful facility. And I think they've hosted many US figure skating events there since. So very exciting one, a lot of lessons learned. Jerry, I'll hand it off to you for your Boston Bruins experience.
And so my experience encompasses many years with the Boston Bruin organization as part of a team of subject matter experts in hockey operations, sports medicine, and performance training, who had input in the planning, design, and construction of the new TD Garden, which is no longer new, then known as the Fleet Center, the renovation of the Providence Civic Center, now known as the Amica Pavilion, and the redesign and refit of the Cumberland County Civic Center, now known as Cross Arena in Portland, Maine, to accommodate the needs of the organization and our developmental as well as our elite athletes. We can move on to project approach. So project approach, as you can see, this team can identify and manage the program for this project. And we have the expertise and experience to apply to our approach towards being a best practice owner's representative for Brookline. Jesse will now elaborate on how we can best manage those processes.
Thank you, Barry. All right, so now to get into the nitty gritty of how, we make these projects a success. Every project starts with a PMP, a project management plan, where we sit down if we're awarded and talk through roles, responsibilities, scope, basically the backbone and the roadmap of the project. So we understand what communication protocols, documentation protocols are important to the town, who's involved, what level of involvement they need, are the different stakeholder groups that require different levels of involvement or different levels of interest, so on and so forth. So that is really our roadmap from kickoff meeting through closeout. It's a fluid document, so obviously as we go through the project, if things need to be added, they can be or adjusted, but it really allows us to really kind of crunch all the information and get aligned with you all on what we need to do and what we need to accomplish. Budget and schedule development, this kind of ties into the PMP. It's an initial kind of checkpoint with you all to set that baseline budget. I know $7 million has been mentioned as kind of the budget goal. So working with you all to expand that into a full budget document, understand what assumptions have been made, review that feasibility study, and really get into the weeds on where we think that money will go. Work with you guys to understand what risks there are within that, what contingencies we should pull out, so on and so forth. Schedule development, similarly, working from the budget to a schedule, understanding what the milestones are there funding milestones associated with the schedule that we need to be aware of, and starting to plan that all out so that we have that framework to really start the project on a good note. Tied to both of those, monthly reporting. That's something we do on every project. We would work with you guys to understand what your reporting requirements are and tailor our reports to your requirements. We're happy to share our samples and work from there. I know the RFQ mentioned, budget reports to be out on the 12th day of each month. So working backwards from that to understand, what that requires and working with your accounting team to get everything, teed up and ready so that we can hit the ground running. Public procurement and team assembly, we've talked about our ability to handle public procurement. I will note on team assembly, it's important that you hire the right players. With our Rink experience and our project experience, I think we'll be there to ask the right questions. I know an architect has been awarded, so I think this will be more geared towards a contractor, but it's important to onboard the right team so that the project can be successful. Design management, probably a little more applicable now that a designer is on board. We would be, as Andre had mentioned, your eyes and ears throughout the design process, really understanding, is there scope creep happening? Are we staying within the parameters of the goals of that PMP? Are these nice to haves that are being included or must haves? So working with you all to really delineate what is the exact goal for this project? And if there are things that we want to add to the design as an alternate or a deduct alternate to, create those levers so that when we estimate the job, we have opportunities to fluctuate the cost. We also think it's important that at each design milestone, we are getting estimates on that design. We want to know that we can afford the design that we're, spending so much time and effort on. So we would envision an estimate at SD and DD, schematic design development, whether that's third party through us, we have estimating resources, or through the designer, we're happy to discuss that. We think that that is critical, especially on a project where cost is important. Proactive risk management, obviously on any project, the earlier we can assess risk and identify it and put a number against it, the better. We want to create that contingency log and start to identify what risks we might foresee, whether it's lead times for certain equipment, market changes, unforeseen conditions, soil, or any other elements to the project. We want to start building that out so that there are no surprises.
And we start commissioning at the time of start. It's kind of like our closeout process. We start the closeout and we have to close out.
Exactly.
So we're always thinking that through a whole life cycle of the project.
Exactly. Stakeholder engagement important on any project, especially public projects. We want it to be collaborative, inclusive as part of our project management planning, understanding who the stakeholders are, how we engage with them, what decisions they need to be part of. It allows us to really structure that engagement so that it's not a complete free-for-all with too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. It allows us to really structure how engagement gets pulled in and how it gets incorporated into the design and decision-making. One more thing I'll say about design management. Jerry's talked a little bit about his operational experience with Rinks. I think it's important to note that, you know, and as I mentioned with Skating Club, that will be your eyes and ears when picking materials, picking systems, or thinking about the operational side of things, as well as just the aesthetics or just meeting the baseline goals. So I think that's also an important factor in here for life cycle costs as well.
So to close, I wanted to underscore why Accenture Infrastructure and Capital Projects is the right partner for Brookline. First, we bring unmatched local technical and operational expertise. Brookline knows our work, and we have delivered successfully under some of the toughest conditions. Second, our team offers a depth of Rink-specific and historic context expertise the town will not find elsewhere. This includes operational knowledge, preservation sensitivity, and user-centric planning. Third, our project controls will give the town transparency, predictability, and defensible documentation at every step along the way. Finally, our partnership approach is rooted in collaboration with town staff, residents, boards, and all stakeholders. We respect Brookline's public process, and we know how to engage it productively. We would be honored to partner with you on this important project. Thank you for your time, and we welcome your questions. I'll turn it back over to Andrea for some final words.
I think I kept it to 20, so I think I'm all right. All right, you did good. We just want to say thank you.
Schedule. He's got more
Really,
schedule. That's good.
Good. We wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. We're really excited and we welcome any questions you might have.
Okay, so again, I'll start with the people in the building here. So start with Karen. I'll go with Nate first. Nate, do you have any questions?
Sure, I'll use the same one I did last time here. What's your opinion on contracting approach here? 149, 149A, what would be your recommendation for sort of the scope and scale of this project?
Well, depending on the size of the project will allow you to have the ability to go chapter 149A, which right now.
Depending on size of the construction, right, I believe the threshold 149A is 5 million. And so we would be, you know, creeping right above it. It probably wouldn't make sense dollar wise.
Yeah, but we've done, I will tell you that majority of our work has been chapter 149A. We think it's a great process or a great procurement opportunity for any kind of town. If it's approved upon, because, you know, you identify the risk up front, you bring the general contractor on board, they're your partner through the whole thing. So they're establishing and they're already gonna know. The goal is to make that GMP find as much risk, get it all under control at the beginning of the project, right? So you're planning, and you execute. We have done both. This whole team has done chapter 149. We've all done chapter 149A, and it depends on whether we're allowed to do it with the statutory, with the laws. But I think, to be honest, it is a good one, chapter 149 for this type of project, because you are going to be designing as you go, right? Or we're going to take the time to do that. I mean, she's a wonderful designer. She does really great work. But we need to make sure that the documents that are on the street have the right details. There's not any unknowns. And so that when you do chapter 149 straight with chapter 149, that we're making sure that we have a set of documents that match the specifications and try to get all the risk out of those documents before we put them on the street.
Do you think you get a better price with one or the other?
I mean, people will tell you that it's 20% higher if you go chapter 149A, but it depends who your partner is, right? And which team. It's a marriage at the end of the day, in my opinion. It's who you think would be your best partner throughout the process. I don't know.
It also depends on how much risk you think you can flush out in the drawings. If it's a cut and dry project where you feel like, hey, we know this, there's really no risk, there's nothing that's saying 149 makes sense. But if you feel like there might need to be some constructability input, some more collaborative kind of effort involved in this, I would see 149.
Yeah, it puts the skin, it gets the skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right? They have the skin in the game just like you. And they're all for your best interest, supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Great, thank you. Clara?
So you mentioned stakeholders. So who do you see as important stakeholders in this project and how would you work with them?
Yeah, do that. So
I think the chief stakeholder here is the community of Brookline, right? Excuse me?
That's all
Go
right.
ahead.
That's okay. You go first and then Jesse will close.
Yeah, and part of our discovery is to find out who all of the stakeholders are, right? I think that there are an awful lot of organizations within Brookline, much the same as the youth hockey, the high school, or any kind of figure skating groups or recreation programming through some of the people that are in this committee. We would do our due diligence to find out who all the stakeholders are and what the impacts of a new Jack Corain rink would impact. So, among others, and talking to the right people about the right aspects of the project on all levels.
yeah,
Andrea, were you going to say something?
Yeah, we were.
I would agree with that, Jerry. Thank you. And obviously, again, meeting with you guys to understand who else is impacted other than that initial kind of stakeholder group. Is there other members of the public that would be interested that we would need to engage with, abutters, so on and so forth. So really thinking about it 360 so that we're not missing a piece of the puzzle will be important to this project.
And bringing your local ISD and bringing fire department, police department, all that into the process as well during the design is really the logistics.
I'm not saying this is part of your plan, but there may be external stakeholders that you want to engage and create some revenue for yourself, for the town. And pretty much optimize the use of the rink and also maybe help defer some of its operating costs.
Anything to follow up there?
No. The nice projects you're showing, they're all a lot bigger than this. And there is this component, the historical component to this project. And I know you don't have your historic person here, but how do you integrate, do you have experience integrating historical elements or a historical approach to projects?
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit?
Well, I can speak to my experience at Matthews Arena and Carter Playground while working at Northeastern. Both are historical properties, one owned by Boston Public Schools, Boston Parks and Recreation, excuse me, and the other owned by Northeastern, but was previously the Boston Arena that was 109 years old when we did the most recent renovation. So there's an awful lot to consider there. There's an awful lot of historical and aesthetic things to consider, but there's also an awful lot of engineering and architecture and just plain practicality that has to be considered also with any kind of history. Now, I'll just say, I think that your particular venue is, I don't know why that popped on. I apologize. Your particular venue is one of the prettiest venues to go skating, whether it's to play ice hockey or just public skate or just to have a night out in greater Boston, let alone New England. And I think that, for that to be maintained or enhanced based upon what the Larz Anderson estate used to look like and what that garden used to look like is very important. And we would work with Dan and the architect to kind of preserve that and enhance that and create the aesthetic to be a go-to place for not only the community of Brookline, but everyone.
And it's dependent too on funding, right? So there's going to be requirements from the Historic Commission on what the requirements are during the design part of the process. And so we take I'll call it a contingent permit. We take that permit after it's been reviewed by the commission. Commission says you need to keep this, you need to keep this, you need to keep that. Or we want to make sure that you use the, you know, the windows or whatever it might be. The brick has to match a certain type of brick. But we keep track of those documents along with the architect. We make sure that the checklist is being used during the design management. And we work closely with the commissioning agents, the architects, and the historic consultant that you may have on board. And I'm not sure if the consultant is part of the architectural team or will be independent to the town.
It'll be architects will hire all the consultants.
Okay. So, but it'll be our job as owner project manager to make sure that the due diligence is being done.
Anything else, Gary?
Nope, I'm good.
David, you're up.
Yes, continuing off of Clara's question about identifying stakeholders, how do you work with stakeholders in trying to reach a consensus? What is your process?
I can answer this one. It's sometimes a difficult process, right? We've all been in rooms where there's, I mentioned this, too many cooks in the kitchen. I think one strategy that really helps us is setting a very defined agenda. For every meeting, we have a goal for the end of the meeting. It's not a complete open free for all of let's review everything and give our feedback on everything. We want to structure every meeting and every kind of touch point with stakeholders so that they know exactly what to review and what to comment on. And we kind of structure it that way. With some stakeholder groups, we have to really take it piece by piece, whether it's looking at exterior finishes that we want to review from a visual and aesthetic standpoint or, you know, functionality standpoint, we piece it that way. Whether it's, you know, looking at programming or looking at design of a specific space, we'll have to work with you guys to understand what will work best with these stakeholder groups. But that is typically how we find it's best to manage that process. I've also found that keeping decision logs is very important. People tend to forget that they made a decision 6 months ago to do, you know, 4 tables in this room instead of 6, and then it just rehashes. So I find that it's really good to just repeat and keep a decision log available for everyone to review so that we're not going backwards, because that is sometimes something that happens on projects. People forget or have a new idea and they want to go back. So really that structure and making sure that we understand the stakeholders and how they process information and structuring the decisions, structuring the meetings so that it's easier to digest, easier to review the different topics rather than giving them everything all at once. And then the last thing I'll say is we understand that not everyone in the room understands technical drawings. I think we sometimes forget because we're looking at floor plans and, you know, civil drawings day and night that we have to be the translators of the drawings. Oftentimes people, when they don't understand something, they often don't feel like they can give their input and then it comes later. So it's our job to really make sure that everyone in the room is understanding, one, what we're looking at. If a 3D rendering will make something easier to look at and understand, or a physical sample, that we really think about, you know, how we can make this as inclusive as possible so that we get the feedback at the right time. So those are some of my strategies. I don't know if anyone has anything.
No, I was just gonna say that everybody deserves a voice. So it's really important that we give our stakeholders the opportunity to speak and to share what is important to them. And then that helps drive the design.
And I would just add that this is a continual, ever evolving process. It's a living, breathing thing. We would follow your lead about how to guide the community process, how to identify stakeholders, who are the important stakeholders. And we'd also do our due diligence, as Jesse and Andrea both alluded to find out, you know, who best would benefit with what elements of the project are taking place. I mean, it's something that we will listen and we'll take your input. We'll take all stakeholders' input and form a plan towards trying to come up with the optimized design, the optimized project plan, and eventually the optimized outcome.
Dave, do you have any follow-up? Okay.
No, thank you. That was helpful.
All right. Since George, you're unmiked, I'll let you go next, George.
So, guys, really nice presentation, but I somehow feel for the scale of this project, it's almost bringing you guys on board is like bringing a hammer to a flea. You know, this is a relatively small project, And why do you think you are not only the right choice to manage a project like this, but you can do it price efficiently within a very limited budget?
Well, you know, George, thanks. That's a good question. I mean, I get it. We're a large firm, right?
Yep.
But we are local and we are very nimble and we're very competitive. Where we have done this type of work, big or small. To be quite honest, we've done projects in the size of $25,000 or $50,000 to 250 million. So we think this is an important job for us. We think it's a great job. It has, like, just what we were talking about, the stakeholders, the experience of the project. It is part of our sports and athletics facilities group that we have, small group that it is, but we do projects like Gallo Rink. Again, 10 million.
I'm gonna say the locker room project's about 450,000, sewer project's about 1.5 million, and the ultimate lobby project, which is a big one, is gonna be about 4.5.
Yeah, so I would say to you, George, that I've done projects all over the sizes. And we're not afraid of a small project. We're quite good at it. We're quite good at urban settings. We're quite good at fully occupied projects as well. So if you want to keep, to do certain projects by phase so that the rink is still occupied and being used, we've done a lot of work like that. And so it doesn't scare me, or it shouldn't scare you that there's a large firm here sitting in front of you would love to work on a project this size. It's a great project.
I get it, right? Accenture is a huge brand. It's been a little bit, quite honestly, overwhelming for us being a part of them. But our roots are in New England. Our roots are in Greater Boston. We were a small project management firm that grew to be bought out by Answer Advisory. They were a small national firm, but we really value the communities in and around and the relationships that we've built with those communities to continue that. Because maybe someday there'll be a bigger project that we can help you with. It's all about the relationship. As far as this project goes, it would be a passion for me to do this. But you know what? I would answer anybody on this panel's calls for 10, 15, or however long I got left, years afterwards if you needed any advice, if you needed any kind of counsel on it. It's all about the relationships, and it's all about good business. And that's what we're about. We're still I think even though we have a big brand name, we still have our New England roots, our Greater Boston roots.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael, I'm gonna go to you next.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you could speak a little to your approach on schedule, since our rink it's a very seasonal space, and we're looking to meet different rink seasons, especially within the schedule from the RFQ. I was hoping you could speak to that.
Yes.
It's important to find out exactly who, again, the stakeholders, to find out who your users are, what their seasons are. I think, everybody on our team knows what the high school season is. We know what the youth hockey season is. But, you have another factor. You have an outdoor rink and all the challenges that comes with that, and that can change your season. I think we're pretty nimble, to use Andrea's word, on all of that, in that we will take into consideration all of your programming, all your recreational programming, and how that fits into the schedule and the use for the new optimized Crane rink, and how we be able to extend that maybe, or help you to have more usable hours. I mean, I think it's something that, again, is a way of we're owners representatives for you and looking out for your best interest, and how to optimize the use of any kind of recreational facility that you might have, but especially this one, given the challenges. But again, we look to optimize that the best way we can.
And if I can add one thing, Jerry, I'm actually working with the town of Arlington on their town hall restoration project, their exterior restoration. We've been talking a lot about how to phase that. We're looking at historic materials. So obviously exterior renovations, you have certain timeframes of when you can do the work. I think for this project, we could also look at phasing. And I think if we go out to bid for a contractor, it'd be something we'd want to explicitly note in the RFP if there's phasing required, if there's certain on windows or off windows to align with the schedule of the rink. It's something that we'd want to just consider upfront, so we're not paying for downtime for a contractor. So these are all of that part of that early planning, really understanding the ins and outs of the rink and all the different stakeholders and activities. So just something to consider there as well.
Michael, I give you a good example, and it had a lot to do with the town of Brookline, and that was that Parsons Field project that we talked about earlier in earlier slides. Andrea and I were up against the worst winter. We had a 10-week window that we didn't think we were going to meet. Opening day for Northeastern University baseball and eventually Brookline High School baseball. We wanted to get that pavilion open. We did, and we did it, and we didn't go over budget. And to this day, we still kind of shake our heads that, wow, you know. So, I mean, we understand, and I, being involved with athletics, you know the windows. You know, if you're a part of a college athletic or a high school athletic program, you have 3 months to rebuild, renovate, or turf a field, right? So we understand those windows, and we think we can manage around it by being good about the pre-construction and coming up with a really good PMP.
Anything else, Michael?
No, thank you.
All right, Debbie, I give you the last word.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. I too was concerned about the rinks that you showed us. Beautiful work and big, you know, large hockey rinks, large athletic facilities. And, you know, the Larz Anderson rink is not that. And so my question is, how is your proposed team able to meet the needs of our project, of this project, of the historic element of it, and this smaller project?
Well, I will tell you this, and if we were awarded the project, we would obviously negotiate our fee. And yes, it looks like a large team, right? If you say that, oh, we're gonna have 4 people on this team, it's truly, you know, Jerry's a little bit of oversight, and it's truly Jesse's running as the project manager. And Tim is working with her because because you talked about it, you weren't sure if you were gonna have CA or not, right? The need for CA. We're very, again, I'll use that word nimble, like we could create our fee structure so that it is X amount of hours per week. It's, we can do it on a lump sum, time and material, not to exceed numbers. We create our fees based on the scope of work that the client wants. And we are ready to commit. This team is committed to this team for the life of the project if we're awarded. And it depends, like, do you want Jesse for half time? Do you want Jesse for 10 hours a week, 12 hours a week? We're very flexible in how we create our fee. And we're flexible to the point we also have behind her, we also have APMs that can do things at a lower rate. And so we're very competitive. I say that a lot, and I've repeated it a couple of times, but we are competitive. And our rates are just, and I can see at CHA, I think on the table over there, we are competitive. So it depends. It depends on the level of service you want, how much you want us to help you with the design management of making sure you get to a CD set, so you can either go out to bid, or maybe it's an SD set and you want to go out and do your CM at risk at that point. Helping you generate the budget, helping you set the budget, set the schedule, and then assemble the team, get that team assembled. We could start at a certain hourly rate, and we could say to us, okay, we want to take Jesse back from 20 to 15. We're flexible, and we'll make sure that we give you the right service. And we will do the service for whatever hours that you guys agree upon.
Any other questions, Debbie?
No, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. Like I said, you're on schedule. We're a little bit off schedule. I will give the committee any more last thoughts or any last questions you want to ask them before we let you guys go and enjoy some of the cookies. Any questions? Anybody in Zoom land has any questions? Okay.
Sorry, I can't be there for the cookies.
Well, and maybe Andrea can send you one for it, so you can grab an extra one, okay?
Again, I apologize. I can't be there, but thank you.
All right, well, it's a little warmer down in Florida than it is up here, so that's,
I don't want to tell you what the temperature is here.
yeah, so I have no sympathy for you. whatsoever.
I left, it was 20 and I got here, it was 70.
Well, we hate you all. Anyway, if you guys have nothing else, you are welcome to leave and, go on with your day.
No, we appreciate your time and allowing us to present.
I do have one question from my standpoint. I mean, it's, you guys kept mentioning it's a 149 or 149A. There's a lot of outdoor stuff, which is chapter 30.
30B, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
how do you guys feel? Is it more of a landscape construction crew that would sub out the building, or would you guys think it's more of a GC who would sub out the landscape?
It depends on who you talk about as a landscape.
Yeah.
Who has that ability to be a CM, because it's very hard sometimes with site contractors to manage. It's like taking an engineer and managing a project, not the architect who manages all the design and all the engineers. Because I've seen it done. Okay, I've seen it done.
I also think it comes into, if we're talking about phasing the project out, we're gonna have a lot of landscaping done one phase of the project.
Not to make your job any harder, but would you consider separate out the two?
Yeah.
The two things, and then you guys would be almost like a mini GC
Well,
managing
we've
those.
done CM agency before. It's not, it's okay. It's not something we like to, we have to get it approved to do it, right? But we have done it in the past, where we have acted as on behalf of and hired all the contractors for the client.
Yeah.
I
know CM is agent for the owner. I get it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more like, hire a GC, hire a landscaper.
Yep.
Then you guys,
Manage,
you guys manage both,
The thing, the hardest thing is getting them to collaborate, right?
And that's why you would earn your fee.
Exactly, and I think that's where we.
That's where we can justify your absorbent fee that you want.
I'm telling you, George hung up. I would say to you, yes, that's the hardest part, is to get everybody at the table every week and go over all the issues.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
And that's where the field guy comes in. He's like, yo, don't dig here. The GC's got to do that today. Don't build a wall here. He's got to run something.
I mean, that Parsons Field was built by McCord.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're road guys.
Yeah.
But they did all the foundation, and we hired.
They have really good PMs there.
We had the grandstand company come in, but we had all the coordination done with the architect and the OPM in Northeastern. And we also had the steel erectors.
So I said, you guys, your information, that's consideration we take also. Yeah.
I think just, to say, back to the point of, we've done a lot of large rinks in comparison, but rinks are a unique build. And this one's even more unique, and you hit on it, because landscaping and some kind of site work is going to be involved. There's historic preservation, and everybody wants that to be done the right way. There's indoor spaces, and the practicality and the traffic inside those indoor spaces. Those are things that, yes, we've worked on a bigger scale to solve. Jesse has, Tim is doing it right now. I've done it many different times, but we can scale it back to giving you the optimized view, because we've learned lessons along the way. So I think a rink is a unique build, but outdoor rink, it's a unique challenge, which I think we're willing to do. And, I think we'll work with you on how you want us to do it. And that's the important thing. What is best for the town of Brookline, and under budget and on schedule.
I'm just looking at, instead of having the GC mark up the landscapers, the 10 and 5.
Yeah.
You save the 10 and 5 on one contractor as opposed to,
Right.
And then
But you also want to be cautious about if you did have one person.
I get it.
You have one throat to choke,
I get
and you have a warranty, and it's covered, right?
get it.
So
I get it.
there's pros and cons to that type of
So it's
a
a risk
buyout, but
assessment.
it can be done, and it has been done, and it's been successful.
And that was my question on your mind.
Yep.
All right, do you guys have anything, you have any questions for us? Let me ask you that.
No,
Jerry, I know that you have probably lots of questions for us.
I know that you're wrapping up today.
We are wrapping up and we're gonna have a reconciliation of all the interviews we had today too.
So I get free admission to the car museum. That's all I care about. And the cookies. No. I'm sure we have,
I'll personally send you one.
I am a Boston guy. I am a hockey guy. And there aren't a lot of questions about Brookline, about this process. It's not a simple project. It's maybe smaller in scale, but it's not a simple project. And, I think what I value is the chance to be able to ask those questions on a regular basis as the project evolves. And to have, Jesse come to me or Tim come to me with the unique challenges that this is going to present along the way that they may not have experience with, and I may, or we have somebody in the company that will. So, I mean, we could ask all kinds of questions right now, but, I think the real question is, can we provide the kind of service that you want and do it in a manner that is going to optimize this and make it everything that it can be, and preserve what it has been.
We're gonna discuss that now then.
Sorry, I'm gonna get off.
You can, please log off.
It's nice to meet you all.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Does the committee need 5 minutes for a bathroom break or stand up and everything? So it is now 4:40, which that was exactly the time we're gonna end this thing.
Have a good day.
We're gonna 4:45, be right back, ready. People in Zoom land, please be logged on and be ready to discuss at 4:45. Thank you very much. I didn't know before this.
I changed my plan.
Oh, you didn't have to.
No, this is important. This is an important job. I want you to know that.
You feel
It really
special.
is.
You feel special. Thanks.
It really is. When I was in California, we had ton of. There's a bad thing. We're in a place where.
You guys Uber here or?
Around,
drive?
I park half an hour. I'm frozen.
You gotta take, let me know, I can take
But.
care.
I was over here. I'm coming up South Boston.
Okay. So you gotta take the green line to the red line or you?
I Uber here just in the sake of
Yeah.
convenience. It's pretty easy, right? 45 minutes. Broadway over here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like 2
I
bucks.
thought, yeah, it's Brookline,
Yeah,
it's
quite a new
There's one right by the high school.
Yeah.
And there's the town.
Wondering how it's.
The fire station itself.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much
Pleasure.
for showing up.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you. I'm
I
sorry.
feel like I've met you before, and it's gonna drive me.
Kaplan Construction.
Oh, it's very different.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Wow.
Holy moly. I knew your face looked so familiar.
Yeah. I can't remember.
The daycare I once, so we did weeks ago.
No, you're fine. I thought I was talking loud, so good reminder.
No, this is.
Answer that?
Yeah.
It's in there.
Pierce Building.
That was
So, yeah.
That was a tough.
Came out very good.
It did.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was the last one, which, 3-4 years ago, it was a nice project.
Wow. Jim, yeah, great fun.
Thank you.
I love working with you guys.
Great to meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
The bathroom is on,
Nice
you
to
guys
meet
in the bathroom,
Nice
the
to meet you.
bathroom is,
Neighbor? Yeah, I'm with the Friends of Larz Anderson on street. And we're very interested in the subtlety of this spot and the preciousness of this spot. Yeah. So,
Thank you so much for
thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
thank
time.
you.
Thank you.
So much.
Nice to meet you guys. Have a great night. Have a good
All right.
night.
you'll probably hear from us in early next week sometime. All right, great.
All right. Thank you.
We'll let
so
you know.
much.
Either way.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
See you later.
We're almost done.
Yeah.
Slide it. I'm logging out.
It's easier having two choose.
Oh, yeah.
Groups than three. It just clear. Yeah. Thank you for setting this up.
So it's helpful.
Yeah.
Those lights are out there. And the shades. Yeah,
Did George leave us?
I don't know.
No, he's there. It's just not shown in this.
It's stand
He's having fun. Is it 4:45? One more minute. Thank you.
That's what I'm gonna fix.
Dick Van Dyke just turned 100 and his solution is the words, keep moving. You know, he's a big dancer. And he said, just keep moving. And it's like, yeah, let's keep moving, standing up and moving. And apparently dancing is really good for, you know.
He's a marvelous guy. It's unbelievable his life. I mean, yeah, because he was an alcoholic. He overcame it, and he's just lived a really great life.
Yeah,
And
100.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. Okay, it is 4:45, and as everyone knows, I like to keep things on track.
That's good.
David, I see you. I see Debbie. I see Michael. Is George there? George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just want to make sure everyone's here. Everyone's back. The committee of seven is here. Why don't we start off with David? Do you have any thoughts on who you liked and who would you like to be on this job?
I do, yes. It's a close call for me. If I were basing it more on prior experience and in terms of the overall size of each company, I would lean more towards CHA. But based on the presentations themselves, I felt that Accenture sounded a bit more collaborative to me, a bit more that they would be in regular communication with us with greater flexibility. There seemed to be a little more of a human element to how they approach identifying stakeholders and working with stakeholders. I heard a lot more in terms of specifics around how they would be adaptable, around how they would speak with stakeholders, around how they would make each step productive. For example, they talked about a decision tree so that there isn't going backwards. It just seemed to be very organized and well thought out. I know that there were multiple questions, and perhaps in this group, there may be some concern about their experience with integrating the historic component with a modern renovation of a skating rink. But I think even some of the experiences they've had, such as with Matthews Arena and even Parsons Field, I felt that some of the examples that they shared and how they commented on the importance of integrating the historic nature of Larz Anderson with working with the new design was persuasive to me. So again, I think both are highly qualified. I would lean somewhat toward Accenture.
Michael, you're next on the tiles.
Yeah, I think I share most of those, or I think all of those opinions on both CHA and Accenture. I thought they were both strong. I just thought that Accenture spoke more clearly and in a way that I thought demonstrated more experience and specific experience with navigating stakeholder groups and community engagement. And then also, I did share the same concerns like with the size of their projects, but yeah, I thought that the way they spoke about engagement was more clear and more convincing than CHA.
Debbie.
Thank you. Because I liked CHA better, and my reasoning, I thought they both were good, but I felt like Accenture didn't. I felt like they may not even have gone to the rink, that it was the way they talked, that everything and what they showed were such large projects. And, this may not be a requirement on what they're being hired for. And so excuse my ignorance in that. But that's how I felt, was that, they showed these big hockey rinks and they showed these, okay, well, we can scale it down. So, I just, and again, excuse my ignorance, but if these things are not really needed in our rink, I just felt like, are they going to be sensitive to the needs of that rink? I know that we hired the architect, we hired Marianne company, her company. And so, I have total faith in her and her company. So maybe that's what they're going to do isn't as important as what we hired the other group for. So that's what I got. I felt like they were showing us these big, huge projects, and we don't have a project that size. Thank you.
George.
Well, I think both firms could do it, and I think it's up to us to manage them appropriately to scale. Again, this is a small project for a heavy-duty LPM firm, very small project. I guess I would tend toward a censure just because they spoke to the project more directly and with more enthusiasm, but I could go with either one of them.
Karen?
I'm going towards the center because I think, especially even being here in the room, they just exuded a confidence that the other team didn't have. And especially the project manager, she gave you a feeling that she has done this and done this and done this, and she knows what she's talking about. And the size of the projects didn't particularly bother me too much. I mean, like George said, we have to kind of manage them too. So, censure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard decision. I like that CHA mentioned that Belmont experienced the CO2 no fossil fuels, which I think is really important. I too agree with Debbie in that I wondered if Accenture went to the site. They seemed to, when they talked about shareholders, they couldn't name a commissioner, the town's the shareholder. So that, I thought that was a disappointing question. I did like how Jessie talked about how she would run a meeting with the shareholders and how she would keep a log. I thought that was very important. Do I have a big wind-up? No, but if I had to vote, I would vote. I agree with Debbie. I would vote for CHA.
Nate?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate, like a lot of people have said here, to have two great companies to choose from. I think one of the nice things about interviews is I like to hear from the doers, right? There's executives that can sell you things all day long, and that's why they're in that role. I like to hear the doers talk, and I think Jessie and Tim spoke with a lot of confidence and experience, and I gained a level of comfort for having confidence in their ability to manage this project and do it well.
Okay.
So,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Because Accenture didn't talk about what, they said if the project goes ahead. They seemed more doubtful about that. They didn't talk about who would be on site, whereas CHA said they'd have an on-site person.
Oh, Tim was the.
Yeah, he would be on site.
Yeah,
even
he
though
mentioned that.
called.
Yeah.
He's called.
Again, I
project
think it's sort of misleading because I limited their scope to non-construction activities. So I said construction administration is when the GC starts work on it. It says like, where we want you to base your presentation, and if you get chosen, your proposal to just up to what's called construction documents.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, because they didn't talk about.
And I think that's sort of because I told them we're leaving the field operations out, right? Really, because we just wanted to get to the CD portion.
Okay.
yeah, but my understanding is Tim would manage that
Yeah,
part
I
if they
got
were
that sense too.
engaged to do that.
That's why he wasn't suited up.
You didn't have the field to turn around.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else on the committee want to make any other comments on there before I go out to the public? Yes, David.
Yes, just one other observation I noticed is that throughout the Accenture presentation, they raised the issue about cost and maintaining cost control and checking in with us on a regular basis to make sure that what they're charging is appropriate to what it is that we envision for them. And that type of adaptability on their end and commitment to having regular check-in points, I think is really important. And we didn't really hear much of that from CHA. It sounded like they have a certain formula, they stick to it, and that's that. And maybe that's just the way they present it, and that's not an accurate reflection of how they actually undertake these projects, but it was a notable distinction to me.
Debbie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, the one thing I did notice was that Accenture didn't mention at all, and CHA did mention the review by preservation or the Mass Historic Commission. They didn't mention that at all, Accenture, and CHA did.
Anything else from the committee before I go to the public? Since you are here, would you like to say anything on
I would, I mean, these have been mentioned before, but I think they're really important as the Friends of Larz Anderson Park representative here. That they talked about an electric, an all-electric building, CHA talked about building, but that we'd also want to have an all-electric rink. And I'm not even sure they had, the other group, Accenture, didn't even mention that. I think that the sensitivity and awareness of the historic features was really given kind of a lip service, given what they showed. That somehow this, the Boston Skating Club movement, you know, to another location was like 3 rinks and food and an awareness. It wasn't just a big project. It was a way out of scale to the sensitivity of Larz Anderson Park.
anything else?
That's it.
Okay, I see Bernadette. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Benedicta Hallowell, town meeting member 15, on board of FOLAP, Friends of Larz. Thank you. I think one of the things that you've all come to, if you haven't realized it, you're sort of liking the same group for the same reason you liked the designer of Marianne Thompson, in that this wouldn't be a project that's so small, like Accenture for Accenture. It would be such a small project that it wouldn't have a huge focus or be a passionate, intense project, which it would be for the other group, the CHC. So I think if you haven't realized that, that's kind of what you all are talking about. I agree with Debbie's comments, and I also agree with the person. I'm sorry, a little tired. It wasn't personal to Accenture, and to Accenture, things aren't personal. It's like a huge group that you all must know. It's just, huge, and so it's not going to be a personal project. This is a very personal project to Brookline, and it's going to take a lot of nuances and flexibility. And so that's all I wanted to say. Thank you all for spending so much time on this.
Is anybody else raising? Yeah. Okay.
Hold on, Janice has her hand raised.
Okay. Let me acknowledge Janice. Are you there? Janice,
yes, I'm here. And I came in late for CHA. Oh, sorry. Janice Khan, member precinct 15. So Larz is, is a constituent of mine. The park is a constituent. So, I heard all of the Accenture. I was unfortunately not able to be here for all of CHA, but I will tell you one of the red flags I heard for me with Accenture was they talked about money making and the operational side, which makes me think that that they're not really understanding that this is, yes, we want to do cost recovery. I'm on the advisory committee as well. Yes, we want to do cost recovery for the, we would like it to be self-supporting like many of our recreation programs are. I mean, that would be a hope. But the way it was presented made me think that their vision for this jewel in our town is not the same as maybe our vision. And, you know, I see that Larz is a small and, you know, it's meant to be a small and welcoming community and neighborhood jewel. This isn't anywhere like any of the projects they showed. And the constituents they did mention were all of the ones that charge money. So like the skate, you know, they talked about Brookline's, I think they talked about Brookline's skate, you know, the constituents they were concerned about are not necessarily the constituents that I see as a priority for this project, which is the community writ large and the people living here and those that come and visit. So I, um, I, when George Cole made his comment about this being like a hammer to a, I think he said a flake, you know, I totally agree with it, that it's not that they don't have the skill set to do this project. They clearly do, but it seemed to me that their vision is out of scale and out of line with, you know, a town project. So thank you for allowing me to comment.
Thank you. Anybody else out there with a thumbs up?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna count to about 5, and if there's no other public comments, we're gonna go back to the committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, from my count, I had 5 committee members vote for censure, 2 for CHA. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I still can do math. I can't remember names, but I can do math. Is there any motion at all, or do you guys want to have a further discussion? Yes, David.
Just a little further discussion. Can you clarify to what extent does the OPM make decisions about, or even suggestions about design, about scope, about purpose, about who the stakeholders are? Because a lot of the discussion we're having right now is about scope, about who has the right experience, which firm is the right size. And I'm just wondering if we're asking the right questions for the role that whoever we vote would be charged with fulfilling.
So obviously, I would still be involved, and I would manage the owner's project manager as well as designer. Where they would run sort of like the day-to-day meetings. And you know, they would probably get involved in scope of work, any increase in scope of work, but they would have to be presented to me, and then obviously to all the interested parties, whether it's parks or buildings or historical.
Yeah, they're really a manager. They really don't have any.
They're not a
input
designer.
into design.
Right.
They're there to keep the process organized, structured, documented, and moving per schedule.
They can make recommendations, but ultimately the
Yeah.
decision stays with Brookline.
Yeah, and Marianne Thompson and her team of consultants are really the designers and the ones who are going to be leading that vision and charge.
Yeah. What would happen is, let's say Park says, "Oh, would it be great if we have a couple of here?" So like, then they would have to like inform me, and then we have to discuss, you know, what is this scope? Can we afford it or not? You know, is it worth it?
Does Marianne Thompson end up working directly with the OPM and making these decisions, or is everything filtered through you?
I mean, it would be a collaboration, David, to tell you the truth. You know, again, I'll because of time constraints, I will not be doing the day-to-day meetings with them. But the OPM will have to make good judgment calls on whether they need to get me involved, if it's a big change, whether it's a minor change, whether they would have to recommend to us if it should be implemented, if it's not, if it's some field conditions, you know, obviously they have to, like, you know, keep the project moving, and then I would have to find out about it. But ultimately, you know, what I'm concerned is about increases in money and increases in the schedule. I think
Does the OPM set sort of broad macro level parameters from which a design is drafted, or is it in the reverse?
It still have to go through parks and building. I mean, you know, ultimately the end user is the skating rink, those parks. you know, they would deal directly with the Parks Department in the design.
Mary Ann Thompson, her consultants will
Yeah.
really lead the design,
Yeah.
vision and effort. The OPM's really, they're a manager of the big picture.
You know, it costs money, it costs time. Then we would lean on them and say, okay, this is, what can we do to mitigate the cost? What can we do to mitigate the schedule impacts?
Can I say one thing? I did like that Megan knew seemed to have respect for Mary Ann Thompson, said she's a great designer, but we'll keep close track on cost. And I know Mary Ann Thompson is a fantastic designer. I don't associate her with low budget projects. She does really first rate. And in what I know of her projects, very high end. So I like that Megan knew of her work, knew she was a great designer, but knew keeping tabs on cost was important. So I will just say that about CHA.
Any other questions?
A question, so who would be, so it wouldn't be, the OPMs that, that keep track of the preservation and the historic, that we're within those standards, it wouldn't be them?
I mean, they have a part in managing it, but ultimately the responsibility is the designer to make sure that, you know, that they're designing towards those standards. Now, the OPM can make recommendations and help the designer along the way, with their experience. So that's where we count on, you know, some of the historical experience as well as the skating experience of the OPM.
Yeah, and all the design firms had historic consultants present in part of their portfolios that would really sort of be their liaison to make those recommendations.
And don't forget, the OPM is not the client here.
Right.
The building committee, Parks and Rec, and the building commission are directing the OPM to overall goals. And the OPM is really doing tactics, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The building committee is establishing the strategy and the overall scope and budget and schedule. The OPM is implementing.
Thank you, George. I thank you.
Any other internal discussion among the committee members? You would like to have one more comment?
Yes, I was just concerned with the way Accenture talked about preservation as sensitivity as opposed to purpose and integration in the whole site. They did give a vision of the space. They did give a vision, but it was almost like, I have to say that, as opposed to a driven reality of the special quality of this particular site.
All right.
You know, in response to that, Mary, I just would say that they're not setting the agenda. We're setting the agenda. They're implementing what we tell them to do. So their sensitivity to historic will be as per our directives.
And George, you're not concerned at all about with their presentation showing those big, huge hockey rinks and that this wouldn't be.
I was, you know, that's why I brought the, you know, hammer to a flea analogy.
Yeah.
They seem to respond to that pretty well.
Okay.
So.
That's my, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments from the committee? Okay, so it's, has anybody want to change their mind now with this open discussion on who they want to choose? Okay, so it was 5-7. Does it?
5-2.
5-2, I'm sorry, 5 out of 7 for censure. I still can't talk. I can do math, but I can't talk.
I'll make a motion to hopefully negotiate a contract with the censure.
Well, rank them as the #1 person.
Yeah, it's the number one
OPM.
Choice from today's process.
Second.
Okay, do I have any, there's a second, do you want to go round the table vote?
I think because it's a Zoom, you need to do a roll call.
Oh, that's right, okay. So Debbie, you're on top of the tiles now. So Debbie, yay or nay on the choice to rank Accenture as #1?
Yay. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, so you're saying Accenture should be ranked the #1 OPM.
Oh, Well, no, I choose CHA, but don't you have to go by the majority?
No, you can just say nay.
Hey, okay.
Okay. David, what is, your vote?
I'll say yay, but I just want to explain my vote a little bit. I very much take into strong consideration what we heard in public comments, but I've also received reassurance that the OPM follows our directives. And I would also add to that I think public engagement and respecting stakeholder groups is extremely important. And I felt that Accenture explained how they would do that a lot better than CHA did, and that it would be more of a dynamic process, where CHA talked about some kind of software module. And so that kind of concerned me. And to me, respecting stakeholder groups is extremely important. So yes.
Okay, so that's 1-1 so far. Michael?
I'll say yay.
All right, that was short and sweet. George?
Yay.
Karen?
Yay.
Karen?
Oh, Clara. I mean,
Clara.
I'll say nay.
That's a nay on you.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
sticking with my original vote.
So the vote is 5-2 in favor of Accenture. That is the majority rule. So it is carried at Accenture. I will start negotiating with Accenture. All right. Or, we could just go blow it up, and I have to like suffer for the next 3 years managing a New York. Hopefully not. Okay, with that, this committee is disbanded. Thank you for your service. And look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Great, thanks for the cookies.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for the cookies.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, all.
Happy New Year. Do you want these?